Okay, we're in the port hallway again, and this is our 240 volt power panel. This section up here controls the 240 volt power. We have a meter that tells us what the power is coming in. We're on shore power at the moment, and it's telling us we have our 240 volts. Very importantly, up here are two little lights. This green light tells us that the polarity of the power coming in is correct. If the red light is on, it means it's incorrect. If it's incorrect, it means that the marina or whoever you have your power cord plugged into is wired backwards and it should not be used. We need to disconnect and tell somebody ashore that there is a problem. These two breakers here, they're your residual current devices, RCDs. These ones prevent you from dying from electrocution. They're the normal ones like you have in your bathroom at home and stuff. This one here is the shore power. When it's on and we're plugged into shore power, we'll have shore power. You can see I just switched it off. We have no power coming in. Turning back on. Here we have charger and inverter. This one, when it's switched on and the switch is on the inverter to charge, we're charging our house batteries. Water heater gets heated by electricity when you're on shore power, or when you're not on shore power, the water gets heated by use of the port engine. Running the port engine for like 30 minutes will give you nice hot water. This one here is for your 240 volt GPOs, or general power outlets. That's all the power outlets throughout the boat. So that's our 240 volt stuff. Working down now, we have our 12 volt stuff. Here we have the two main isolator switches. These are for the start batteries to start your engines. This is for the house batteries. The house batteries run all the boat. They run your lights, your fans, and they run the inverter to make 240 volt power as well. This one in the middle is your emergency paralleling switch. If you go to start your engines and the batteries for the start is for some reason flat, you can actually just bring this one around and it will connect the house batteries and the start batteries together so you can start from your house batteries. At times you'll see that this will switch itself on. See how the little red light just turned on there? It would have actually right at that moment turned itself on. What that's doing is the shore power's coming in, we have our charger on, our house batteries are completely full. So what it does is it turns itself around and connects the two together, so now it's charging the start battery. So if I turn that off, you'll see in a moment it'll actually turn itself back on because it's engaged. It wants to charge them. So in a moment that will switch on. This one here is the windless circuit breaker. This one is very important. The windless, or your anchor chain winch, it uses a lot of power, and if you overload it by trying to pull the boat towards the anchor instead of driving the boat towards the anchor, it can overload. So to protect itself, the circuit breaker will trip. You'll know if it's tripped because this little yellow thing will come down. It says reset on it. So at the moment there's no power going up to the windless. Reset it, you're up there, you're ready to go. Working our way down, we have our monitoring system here. You see there's simply some ups and down buttons. At the moment you can see it's telling us the water tank. At the moment we have 264 litres. So you know how much water you got. Press the button. It's a fuel tank. The starboard fuel tank, it's got 101 litres in it. The port fuel tank, 99 litres. The start battery is currently at 13.4 volts, which is very good. The house battery is currently at 13.9 volts. Very good. This is like a map of the house battery. So if it was flat, you'd see the black line would be down lower. Currently the house battery is being charged, and it's being charged at 11 amps. If it was no power going in and we have lights on, etc., you'd see it be discharging, and it gives you an idea of how fast you're flattening your batteries or charging your batteries. We're back to water tank, so that's that one. This one here obviously says anchor light. You turn him on, the anchor light on the top of the mast switches on. Must be on, of course, overnight when you're anchored. Steaming light. Steaming light is a white light that's on the front of the mast that is used if you're operating as a power boat. If you have your motor going, even if you're motoring and sailing at night time, which of course you won't be because you're not allowed to be moving at night, the steaming light would be on. This is spreader lights. That's lights that are up the mast that shine down onto the deck and illuminate the deck so you can see what you're doing at night time up there. This one uses quite a bit of power, but short use for it. Looking around, fishing, whatever is fine. Navigation lights. This one here is your port and starboard red and green lights, but once again, you shouldn't be using those because you're not allowed to be moving at night time. Instruments. Instruments and accessories actually go together. The instruments that are up on the helm need both these ones on. So accessories is also the power outlets. We have 12-volt power outlets like you have in your car around the boat. So if you have chargers for your phone, etc., that you would plug into your car, you can plug them into the boat. So these ones put on the instruments and all the accessories. The accessories include things like the lights and the fans. So if they stop working, this is the first place you're going to come and look. This one down here are grey water pumps. Grey water is the water that comes out of the shower and comes out of the kitchen sink. When we shower and empty the sink, it goes into a tank. Each day when you're sailing out in the middle of the channel, you can turn this one on and you'll see out of the side of the boat on each side water will be coming out. That's your grey water. So you just pump them until you stop seeing the water come out. You'll be shown this when you have your chart briefing. This one is the fresh water pump. You don't get fresh water out of your tank unless you got the pump on. If you run out of water, you'll hear the pump running continuously. That's not a good thing. So if you run out of water and it's running continuously, you need to just turn this one off so you don't burn out the pump. This one quite obviously is fridge and freezer, and this is a spare one which is on, but there's no reason for it because there's nothing connected to it. It's just a spare. Down in here we have our bilge pumps and the bilge water alarms. We'll go over and we'll show you where the bilge pumps are located. The bilge pumps have 3 positions. They have an off position, manual, which makes them run, and auto. We always keep them on auto. On auto there is a float sensor. If the water starts to come into the bilge for some reason, it will turn itself on and it will pump automatically. The other thing with the auto is whenever it comes, if water was to come in and the water level came up and the pump switched on, these alarms would sound as well, and that lets us everybody know that something's going on. Of course, if these alarms came on or you found you had water in your bilge, you need to call us. Back, it has our inverter. The inverter is both a battery charger to charge up the house batteries, and it's also a device that takes the power from the house batteries and turns it into 240 volts for use out of the power outlets. Now, the inverter use is very heavy consumer of power. If you run equipment through the 240 volt sockets when you're not on shore power, it will burn your batteries down pretty quickly. However, things like charging cell phones and iPads and computers, that's not too bad. But anything that heats, for example, you know, we have a toaster on board and we have a kettle on board. If you plug them into the inverter when you're not on shore power, it uses a lot of your house battery power. So those items are best left just for when you're on shore power. We have a kettle that you can put on top of the stove and you make your hot water that way. So when you look in the back at the inverter there's a switch and it has on, off and charge. So when it's in the on position it'll make electricity from your house batteries. We're currently plugged into shore power, so if I switch it over onto charge, it's now charging the batteries, and it charges the batteries quite quickly. Here in the salon, 2 fire extinguishers are located on the port side. You'll be shown exactly how to use fire extinguishers if you need them during your briefing. Under these 2 covers here, most of the electrical stuff, as you saw, is out there. But under here, there are many, many more breakers. So you can see there's a lot here. These ones typically will never get used. But you know, you might find something's not working for some reason. So for example, let's say you plug something in one of the little 12-volt outlets like your car outlet, and then suddenly they're not working. Well, chances are you're going to find that that breaker's tripped. Same with lots of the other things. You know, if the window doesn't work, the electric window for example, you know, or the toilet doesn't work, this would be one of the places that you look for it.